Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video I'm going to be doing a sort of short brief recap on my word of the year for last year. We are still in 2022, this is the final day of 2022, but I'm going to say last year because that's what I'm talking about, and then we'll talk about New Year as being the new year. So we're going to talk about the word of the year that I chose for last year and how I think that I got on with that, and then we are going to talk about what word I have chosen for this year. Just as a sort of brief backstory, I guess, I haven't been doing New Year's resolutions for quite a few years now. I felt like every year the list got longer and longer of all the things that I wanted to achieve, all the things that I wanted to do. And I'd get to the end of the year and I would have a whole long list of things that I didn't achieve. And I felt like it was very demoralising, very sort of negative on me. So I decided to switch things up and do a word of the year. I'd seen loads of people do it in the past. And it just seemed like a good idea to me. I've been doing it for quite a few years on my blog that I used to do. I used to have a blog that I used to write on. So I was doing it for quite a few years on there, and then I obviously followed that up on my YouTube channel when I stopped doing my blog and did my YouTube channel. So my word of the year for last year was consistency. At that point last year, I felt like that was something that was really lacking in my everyday life, was consistency in everything. I wasn't being very consistent with my running, with my diet, things like that. So I felt like that word of the year was something that I needed to guide me into the sort of next phase, if you will. I don't think it's been a complete and utter failure. I don't like to class my word of the year as being a fail or a non-fail. I just sort of want to learn and improve from that word and then move forward. So I do feel like in certain areas I have been really consistent this year, particularly with my marathon training from about the I would say April time, when I found out that I got into the London Marathon, the beginning of April. From about that time, well, before then I was very consistent. I feel like every new year, when you start a new year, you've got this almost like momentum from the new year that keeps you going for quite a while. And I feel like because it was like a fresh start and all the rest of it, I was really on it with my consistency. I had my little vision board that I created. I'll leave a little screenshot here of what my vision board looked like for last year. I will show my vision board that I've made for this year as well. It's very similar, just a change in like quotes and things like that. So yeah, I felt like I had that in a really like standout place that I could look at all the time, and I do feel like I was very consistent for I would say a month, 2 months, something like that, and I felt like I was doing really well with that word. That did continue when I found out that I got into the London Marathon. I had to be consistent, so I felt like that word was really sort of guiding me through that period. I had to be really on it with my training. I wasn't perfect, I wouldn't say I was perfect, but I was consistent with my training runs just because I had to be during marathon training. And there was no way that I could go weeks without doing any training whatsoever, so consistency really did play its part in that. And I finished the London Marathon, I got it done. Obviously things didn't go exactly how I wanted them to and things like that, but for the most part it was a great experience. I loved it. I want to do London Marathon again, which is weird. I want to do another marathon again, that's super weird. But yeah, I do feel like during that period of time from the start of the year to probably about October time, I was very consistent with my training, which is a massive improvement from last year because I was all over the place with my consistency with my training. I wasn't very good with that, so I do feel really happy with how things have gone consistency wise with my training this year. My diet, not so much. I would say from the beginning of the year until about March time, I wouldn't say my diet was perfect. I wasn't fully on it or anything like that, but I do feel like it was a vast improvement from the previous year to sort of be following that word of the year and being consistent with things. But once April hit and my marathon training began, I was less focused on weight loss and more focused on fueling my body. I mean, I could have been consistent with the foods that I was eating, making sure I wasn't going too overboard and being in control, but yeah, that's another story. I've talked about that many times on my previous videos. So I do feel like I I lost a bit of consistency with regards to sort of diet and exercise. I didn't really track much at all, so I lost that consistency there. And obviously the reason why the diet sort of wasn't in check, I can't remember, I've lost my train of thought. I'm still quite sick from over Christmas. You might hear it in my voice, but I'm sort of losing track of where I'm talking about. But the reason why I wasn't on it with my diet was like being in a weight loss phase was because that's not good for marathon training. So I sort of made a decision at that point that I wasn't going to be focusing on weight loss. It was going to be about marathon training. So I feel like that's where the sort of consistency with the diet sort of fell off a bit. When it came to October and the marathon was finished, it was my intention to get back on track, to start my weight loss series again and to have a fresh start from October. I always feel like it's a bit cliche to be like, oh, new year, new start sort of thing. And you should be able to start something that you want to do at any time of the year. And I do agree with that. And my intention in October, after I finished the marathon, was to get back into my weight loss. But I found that I was in such a rut, and I still am. I think I've run maybe 3 or 4 times since October, which is not good at all. And I can tell that in my weight and things like that. I mentioned it in my check-in last month when I did a fresh start, although I don't know why I fresh started. Well, I do know why I fresh started in November, because like I just mentioned, you can restart your journey, whatever it is that you want to do, at any time of the year. And I wouldn't encourage anyone to wait until the new year to restart whatever they want. So I guess the intention when I did my restart in November was to properly kickstart things again. That hasn't been the case at all. And yeah, before I go totally off track, I haven't been consistent. I haven't really been using consistency as my guiding word of the year since about October. And that's no fault of my own. I was just in full on marathon blues stage. I didn't know what to do with myself. I had been using all of my effort, all of my time for quite a long period of time from April until October, solely focused on the marathon. And then once that ended, I didn't know what to do with myself. And I have been finding it really difficult to get back into marathon training. It's been particularly difficult with it being darker at this sort of latter part of the year, where it's dark in the mornings and the evenings, and I find it really difficult. I've mentioned this many times on my channel. I find it really difficult as a woman to go out and run. But I don't have that excuse because I have a treadmill at home and I haven't been using that either. It's literally purely down to laziness and using or allowing outside influences affect what I do. And that it is no fault of anyone else's, although there are other people. And I have no shame in sort of mentioning that Philip is an outside influence for me. He isn't doing any exercise either. His diet isn't on track either. And I hate going back to sort of past self, but when I lost weight in the past, I did all of that with Philip. We did it together. We lost weight together. We were running together, etc., etc. And I feel like when you've got someone else in the house who isn't in the same mindset as you, who isn't in that weight loss phase and things like that, and is sitting at home, and then you want to do a run or go on the treadmill or something like that, and there is someone else who's sat in the next room that's enjoying themselves, playing games, watching TV, etc., it's very, very hard to get motivated. And yeah, I just stopped doing much at all. So yeah, I guess I've talked about it for quite a long time now, nearly 10 minutes. But the first sort of portion of the year I was really good with consistency. Not perfect, but no one ever is. And then towards this end of the year I've really sort of let it drop off. So when I was thinking about my word for this year, I was really struggling for quite a long time on what I wanted my word of the year to be. I feel like this year has been so many excuses for not doing something. I have used quite a couple of them in just the last few minutes. Philip, for example, him not doing things shouldn't be a reason why I don't progress with my own journey, I guess, with the things that I want to do. I have used the darkness as an excuse, but I have a treadmill, so it's sort of laziness on that part. Yeah, just a lot of things that I have made excuses for and not done. I've not had that sort of, or I've had the intention to do something and just haven't acted on it, I guess. So I've been stuck on many different words that I wanted to use for this year. I had a phase of wanting to do momentum as my word of the year, because I have mentioned this in the past and I've mentioned it in this video as well. I sort of get the ball rolling for a while and then it drops off, and I felt like maybe momentum was what I needed to sort of guide me through this year to keep that momentum going, but I decided that that wasn't it. I was going to choose commit because like I said, I make a lot of good intentions in the things that I want to do. I say a lot of things on this channel as well, like I'm going to do this sort of video, and then it never sort of comes into fruition. I feel like I'm always that sort of person, or I've been that sort of person where I say that I'm going to do something and then it sort of never comes about. So I want less of that this year. So I was going to have commit or commitment as my word of the year, where if I say that I'm going to do something, I commit to doing it. But alas, I didn't choose that word either. Instead, I chose discipline as my word of the year for this year. I feel like discipline is something that I've really been lacking in this year, and something that I really sort of need to find this year. There was a quote that I wrote down. When I was looking for my word of the year, I came across an article with it. Hopefully I will be able to pull it up. I might just have to pause the video while I bring up my notes for it. Right, so I've got up the article now. So it was from Men's Health. It was a article on why you don't need motivation to lose weight, you need discipline. It was by Christian Finn, and one of the things that he said in the article that really sort of stuck with me is that he said a lot of people see discipline as a fixed and unchangeable personality trait. You either have it or you don't, but discipline is like a muscle. If you don't have it, you can build it. And I think that's really true. I do feel like I've really sort of lacked in discipline this year, and it's something that I want to work on. So like when I say I want to do X video, I want to note it down and actually do it, rather than it being something that is an intention that doesn't come to fruition. I want to have discipline with my running. There are races that are coming up very soon. I've got Cambridge Half and the Burley 7 coming up in March. I have done practically no training for it, and we've got about 8 weeks to go, which is sort of crunch time for me, especially when I've not run, and I need to build that sort of that fitness back up, I guess, because I haven't run at all. And I need discipline with my food. I definitely need to be more disciplined with the types of food that I'm eating. I have gone for a phase recently where I've been having like packs of Haribo and things like that, and I've said that I've wanted to have a small portion of the pack of Haribo, and then without even really sort of thinking about it, I've eaten a whole pack of Haribo, things like that. So I do really need to sort of exercise some discipline in my life again. I want to have certain things that I do, like getting up early in the morning. I have been getting up early in the morning some mornings, but then I spend a lot of time on TikTok in the morning when I could be using that to do something else. Ultimately, and I've spoken to this to Maria about this several times, but ultimately I do really deep down want to lose weight, but I'm just not, or I haven't been disciplined enough to sort of put things in action to get what I want. And I really want this to be the year that I actually make some progress, because I feel like over the last God knows how many years I've been saying that I want to lose weight every year, that I want to do this, this and this and this, and then I come to the end of the year and I've got nothing at all to show for it. I am going through a quite a turbulent phase at the moment where I am very, very what's the word for it, self-destructive. I just hate the way I look. I don't love the body that I'm in, and I really hate myself for how I got to my goal weight all those years ago, and then I've sort of let myself go over these last couple of years, and I feel like I'm back to square one. And I'd gone for all that surgery to have my boobs done and my tummy done and things like that. If you're new to my channel, or if you don't know that, yeah, I had my stomach done and I had my boobs done to remove excess skin after I lost weight, and I feel like that was all wasted now. I mean, when I lose the weight again, I will still sort of have those results there, so it's not entirely wasted, but yeah, it just feels like a waste right now, and I have done nothing this year to really change that, and I've done nothing every year to change that. So I feel like this really needs to be the year that I change my behaviours, change my life, do whatever I need to do to get where I want. I'm just hoping that I sort of stick to it. I'm hoping that my word of the year guides me that way. I did write down a couple of things for why I was choosing discipline as my word of the year. So I've got that motivation will only take you so far. It can come and go in a flash, and that's where discipline comes in. And I definitely, that is something that I believe in. Motivation does come and go. Obviously, if motivation was there, I would be going out for a run, but this is the time that I need discipline to say, look, you've got races in March that you need to be training for, and you sort of need to get a wriggle on. I need that discipline there in order to get out for those runs. If I wait for motivation, it might never come, and I might end up going to Cambridge Half and Burley 7 without having done any training. So yeah, nobody feels motivated 100% of the time. So if you're serious about wanting something, forget about trying to be motivated and get disciplined instead. And then I've got small acts of self-control over time will make you more disciplined, and to start small with diet changes and exercise and build momentum. So yeah, that is my word of the year. I guess I'll show you my vision board that I created. Like I said, it's very similar to what I did last year. It's mainly a bunch of quotes surrounding sort of discipline. I've got a couple that I used last year which weren't really consistency related, but were sort of stuff that I wanted to guide me this year. So I'll go in a bit closer so you can see some of the quotes on there. But they're things that really sort of stood out to me when I was looking for inspiration on my vision board for this year. So I am going to put this in a more standout place than last year. I had to put it in my office, but then I ended up not actually working in my office as much as I wanted to, so I feel like that was probably a mistake as well, was that it wasn't placed somewhere that I would see it every day as a reminder. So I'm definitely going to do that. I have also bought a diary, if you will, planner. It's one by Clever Fox. It's this one here. I haven't filled anything out in it yet. That is going to be my sort of intention after this, to get this filled out. But in here is basically, it's got a gratitude section, affirmations, what am I passionate about. It's got a vision board, which I already have anyway. And then it's got my goals, so it's got like areas of goals to put things in, so you can put finance, health, fitness, etc, etc, spiritual, if you're into that sort of thing. You can put separate goals in there for this year. It's got my focus, where you can actually put goals in there that you want to achieve for this year. It's got a mind map in there, and then it's got these sort of like monthly layouts where you can put whatever is coming up for the month, anything that you want to do. It's got this month's goals, this month's wins, and how I'll improve next month. I really like the idea of having that, how I'll improve for the next month ahead. So it's got like 12 pages worth of monthly look over things, And then it's got these sort of pages in it. So it's got like a weekly spread with all the days on it where you can write things that you want to write in there. I'll probably put exercise and whatever in there just to note it down on what I've done. And then it's got this week's goal, this week's priorities, personal to-do list, and then it's got this week's wins and how I'll improve next week. And then it's got like a habit tracker in there, which I sort of wanted to sort of put and track all the different things that I want to improve on and do throughout the weeks. So I am going to try and have this basically glued to me at all times. So if I have an idea for a YouTube channel, like I have mentioned many times in my videos that I've wanted to do certain videos and things like that, they will go straight in here and I will have them as like a to-do list where I tick them off, because that is something that I really want to improve on this year. So yeah, I don't think I've got much else to say. I'm really hoping that I can get some discipline and I can improve on things this year, and I will have a better sort of I'll have something better to show next year. So look out for videos coming very soon. I am, like I said, going to sit down with my planner and plan everything out, especially for the next sort of month ahead. If you have any sort of video ideas, any videos that you enjoy, things like that, put those down below in the comment section for any videos that you might want to see on the channel, and let me know if you were to pick a word of the year, or maybe you already pick a word of the year rather than resolutions. What do you think your word would be? Let me know that in the comments down below. But yeah, I am just really hoping that this is going to be a better year for me just overall, with my health, with my weight loss, fitness, all that kind of stuff, and just get back to how things were, I guess, and just be a lot happier in myself and not be hating on myself and my body as much. That would be a great thing. So as always, I'll be keeping you guys updated on everything that's going on. I'll have my monthly check-ins every month. You will see one going out tomorrow, hopefully, or it might be the second, depending on how fast I can get things edited. So that will be coming. It will be a fresh start again. I had fresh started in November, but I feel like it's just going to be fresh start again. It's new year, new start, whatever. I know it's cliche, and I know I talked about restarting at any point of the year, but I do feel like at this point it just needs to be a fresh start from January. So that is what I'm going to be doing, and I need to get back into training for this half marathon that's coming up. So training diaries will restart on the channel again. I'm not sure what date they're going to be, but once I figure that all out, I will put it somewhere. I want to make more use of my community section on my channel so that I can get some feedback from you guys on what sort of videos you want. So I might put a post out there as well on like what you guys want to see, what you enjoy seeing, things like that. So yeah, I just want to be a bit more active on here. I haven't really been active on any social media at all. So yeah, I just really want to make a big push this year to see where I can get something moving, because I'm just sick of just being stalled in the same place, which is no fault of my own, but yeah, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired of myself. So something's got to give. So we will see how this year goes. I hope you've all had a great year. I hope you've all had a great Christmas if you celebrate it. If you don't, then I just hope you've had a good week anyway. And we'll see what next year brings. So I'm going to end the video here. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can always click the notification bell down below to be notified of when my videos go live. Other than that, I hope you're all staying safe and well. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, whenever it is that you're watching this, and I will see you again in my next video.